Good evening, book lovers. Welcome to another episode of Cath-Lit Live. I am your host, Amy Cattapan. You can find me everywhere on social media under my pen name, AJ Cattapan. And as always, our episode tonight is brought to you in part by my sponsor, Hello. They are an awesome Catholic prayer app. If you haven't checked them out, do yourself a favor. They are adding more and more content every day, different prayers, Catholic music, you name it, they're adding it. So please go check them out. You can get a free premium trial with my special link, which will be in the show notes on YouTube, as well as there is a link in my Instagram profile as well. All right, well, tonight, I have a guest I've been waiting to talk to for weeks now. He is an actor and an author, and his name is Kaiser Johnson. He's also a Catholic husband and a father. He works as an actor, and you may have seen some of his performances. You may have seen him in the movie Unplanned or the Netflix series Stranger Things as the evil Russian. He is also a voiceover artist, so you may have heard him in Transformers, War for Cybertron, Call of Duty Cold War, and Resident Evil Resistance. He is also the author of the book Grit and Glory, Cross-Training Your Body and Soul. And I found out recently he's got an upcoming Pulp adventure series coming out. But tonight we are here to talk with him about his new book, which I actually got to read an advanced copy of, How to Be Miserable and Alone or Discover a Life That Truly Matters. So please help me welcome Kaiser Johnson. Woo! Hey, Kaiser. Oh, you went sideways on us again.
Hey.
Wait, yeah.
Here, let me try to flip around. I wonder if it's not going to let me. Hold on.
You're right set up right now.
Nope, wrong. That's not right. Okay. If you don't mind me being in just, like vertical video, I apologize for that. But
not a problem at all. This is a very casual interview. So I'm so happy we could finally make this work. I know we were going to try to meet a few weeks ago, and then you had a scheduling thing, then I had a scheduling thing. Third time's the charm, right?
Yes, it is. And I'm realizing now in vertical video, I just want everyone to know that this is not a Che shirt. This is a Chesterton shirt. So just be aware of that. That's
Chesterton as in GK?
GK Chesterton, yes.
Okay, very good. Make sure we get our
the guy I quote throughout my book.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one, which I've already shown a cover of.
That
so, yeah, tell us about How to Be Miserable and Alone or Discover a Life That Truly Matters. What is this book about, Kaiser?
So this book is about basically my realization of all the times that I followed bad advice from someone who didn't have my best interest at heart, namely mostly the advice of the world that we live in. And all the times that I did it really without thinking. And then all the times I've seen my friends do it kind of without thinking. And, even people who really want a life of integrity, of value, they long for something more, and we're still taking the advice of a culture that's not equipped to give that to us. And so basically, the book, the way that the world gives us advice is catchy and interesting, and it's clickbait and that kind of thing. So that's kind of how I structured the book. Is here's all the clickbait style advice that we get, and then I have captions from actual magazine articles, blogs, celebrities and stuff like that to open each chapter, and then the advice of the saints and to contrast with it, and then we go into all the examples from my life of where I have decided to be miserable and alone instead of choosing a life that really matters, and then how to choose a life that does matter.
Yeah. So to give people an example, I knew right away from the prologue, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. Because here are some of the examples you gave about like the contradictory advice. Like we're told happiness lies in a perfect body, but also we should promote body positivity and end fat shaming. Or gender reveal parties are the best and we're spending hundreds of dollars on, but also gender is just a social construct and it's wrong to impose that on anyone. This whole contradictory advice that we get in our culture, the fact that you bring that up and you call it out, I think is great. And then you give us these alternate options for following the examples of the saints and stuff. But like you said, you tell a lot of your own stories, and you also kind of share some stories like of like friends without naming anybody, like people that you've known. And as I was reading this, like there's some great chapters in here where you get on some pretty hard-hitting stuff. Like I just thought of so many people I know too that I was like, oh yeah, I don't. Men and women who try to play that we're best friends and nothing's gonna come of that, and it's gonna be okay. And if I'm in a relationship with somebody else, that's fine. But you kind of come at this all head on. And I was just wondering, while you were writing it, or even now that it's out, do you ever worry a bit like, oh, I wonder if my friends reading this book are gonna think, is he talking about me right there? Is that my story? Is that my life? Did you worry about that at all?
A little bit. I mean, most of the time, so usually, I mean, sometimes I just actually just say who it is. Like, like I give my friend Patrick a hard time throughout the book, but in the most loving way possible. And when it comes down to it, no one gets out of there worse than I do. So, like, because I've done all the things. So, I might use someone as an example in one instance or another instance, but I'm an example in all of the chapters of all the ways I've made those mistakes. So, I don't know. Yeah, I guess the way that I know I've said it before is that it's unfortunately a nonfiction book. And it does happen to be my story, but it might also be your story. And so I expect I was uncomfortable for myself writing it, and found myself convicted as I was writing the chapters. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still doing that, or, any number of times. And so if you aren't a little bit uncomfortable, or you don't find yourself convicted reading it, you're either a saint or you're a little deluded. So
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I guess that's my answer to that. Does that answer the question?
I think it does. And I like that you do bring up your own stories a lot. And that, I like that you just admitted that, like, oh, even as I was writing it, I was kind of like, oh, I kind of still do this sometimes. Do you think sometimes we as authors write the book we need even more so than the book other people need? Have you noticed
well,
that?
Absolutely. I mean, I guess maybe I'm totally wrong about how people are, but I guess my thought is, if you're anything like me, which, then you've run into the situation too. And so I hope, I guess, that people are somewhat like me, that because in that regard, at least, of the mistakes that they've made, I hope they don't just come up with whole new ones that, that I never dreamed of. Whenever I look back at what I wrote, I'm like, gosh, okay, that is advice I could take better to heart, and or the advice of the saints who are in there, and just go. I mean, every day I think about that. There's the chapter about children and being a parent and that kind of thing, and I'm like, I need to listen to my own advice better here, and same thing when it comes to, again, like career success and stuff like that, and go, I need to listen to my own advice better here. And because it's not, in the end, it's not my advice. It's advice that I just, am putting in 21st century terms, but from the saints and from the Bible and from tradition. And,
Well, just to share a little bit, I have a book coming out about teacher burnout. And it's like, as I was editing it this past winter, it was like, what was my advice again about dealing with teacher burnout? Like, and again, it's like it's like, it's not even so much my advice. All my stuff is taken from scripture. So again, it's like, it's almost like God makes us write the book he knows we need and others need as well.
I
want to ask you about one more thing specifically in the book before we get into other stuff, because there's a part in here where you talk about the best self. And you kind of like dismiss that term. Now, I have a house church group that has read a lot of Matthew Kelly books that talk about the best version of yourself. So is what you're saying here contradictory to what Matthew Kelly is saying? Or what is your beef with the phrase best self?
Right. So my beef with the phrase best self, I guess, is that it's I think it's disingenuous at best, or borrows too much from the vocabulary of our culture to the point that it actually puts us in a dangerous position of forgetting the truth about what it is to be human and to be saved by Christ. And so I think the idea is, John Paul II said, become who you are. And in the sense that not that, oh, you're good enough just the way you are, but there is still a process of needing to become the person that Christ has made us in baptism, and the person that he has called us to be. And I think that that's different than our best self, because it's just our true self. And I don't like using the word true self either, but just that if we qualify ourself with anything, I think it as opposed to just going, no, that is the me who is me is a saint, and that's the me I need to be, and not go, well, there's degrees to which I do, am that, and I could be a good me, I could be a better me, or I could be the best me. I don't think that reflects reality. So
is it more along like
I think normally I do badly at being me is what I guess normally normally I do badly at being me, and
okay.
that's why I go to confession so often. So because I should do better at being me.
Right.
Saint Irenaeus, was it Saint Irenaeus who said, the glory of God is man fully alive, and that is, that's our call, is to really be that, and not anything that matches the definitions of good, better, best of anyone else but Christ.
All righty. So tell me now, let's switch gears a little bit. Tell me about this upcoming work of a Pulp adventure series. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I love that genre, and it's one that there's not a lot of right now. Although it looks like there's a number of things that are in the works that Disney's doing and stuff that is going to be more in that genre, which is great. There's room for it all. But just that kind of the interwar years, as it was between World War I and World War II, but this age of adventure and just ending the colonial era, and places where people were traveling all over the world. World travel was for the first time really accessible because of airplanes being able to carry passengers, and not just being used for mail and that kind of thing, and then also steamships being cheaper, and you could go different places and try different things. And so this Pulp adventure series, and I read some stuff that was in development, stuff like that, and what I read was really bad, and so I was like, gosh, why am I waiting for other people to write the books that I want to write, the books I want to read, make the shows I want to see? And so it's just like, I've been wanting to be involved in something like this since I was a kid. And so why don't I just, write that myself? And so
are we talking are you writing a script for like a TV series, or are you writing a book? What form?
So I wrote some. Good question. So I wrote some short stories, and I'm novelizing them now. And the idea will be to have it be a book series. I would also like to have it be a television series, or streaming series, that kind of thing, because they will be written in kind of a more episodic style fashion, and that kind of thing. But it's all about this a mild-mannered insurance claims adjuster who quite accidentally gets involved in this whole secret adventure club that takes him all across the world and on these bizarre adventures that he never wanted or expected as part of his life. So, there's stuff all over the world, from stuff happening in the Philippines and Iceland and Africa and in the Orinoco Basin, and things with just regular kind of things like finding artifacts and stuff like that, to curses and monsters and everything. So
is
yeah.
this going to have any sort of Catholic overtone to it, either overtly or just allegorically or anything?
In the idea that that I'm a Catholic author and I have a difficulty taking that out of there. I think that there's not much. There's in some of the parts, especially when we start dealing with things like curses and monsters and that kind of thing. There are, while priests don't come in and save the day, but
Not the Exorcist.
I'm not writing exorcism stories, but there's a kind of a natural understanding of the supernatural, if that makes any sense, of just recognizing that there are some things that people do or that cultures do that create that invite evil into a situation, and that it's much harder to get rid of the evil than it was to bring it in the first place. And so that's a kind of a big component of what it is. And being a person, and I think another major part of it is a major part of the story is the idea of living a life of integrity and of and I mean this in the Chestertonian Latin sense, a life of romance, that we're all called to this life that celebrates and takes joy in truth, beauty, and goodness. And there's a great adventure that we're called to live. And so truly in the most sort of basic sense, the romantic ideal, but not in like a love romantic ideal, the romantic ideal of laying down your life for love of others. Yeah.
All right.
Love has no what is it? Well, hold on, now I lost it.
No, lay down
there's no greater,
yeah.
For some reason, I was able to do it in Latin and not in
English.
Yeah,
that would have been impressive.
There is no maiorum caritatem. There's no greater love than this. So
see, there you go. Well, that sounds exciting. Okay, you'll have to keep us up to date and let us know news of that when it comes out. All right. So in the meantime, where can people, if they want to find out more about you and your books, where can they find out more about you?
Yeah, and if you want to stay up to date on that kind of stuff too, about the Pulp Adventure series, the best place to go is to visit my website, kaiser-johnson.com. It's kaiser-johnson.com. And there you can sign up for my email list, and I will send you emails anytime I've got updates on that, or if you want to hear about the acting stuff I do, or voiceover, and where you can see me or hear me there, or you want to hear about my nonfiction books, go there, sign up for my email list. It's like once or twice a month that I will reach out. So, you're not going to get spammed. I'm not going to be filling your inbox every day and a half. So that's the best place. And then social media wise, Instagram and Twitter, I'm at Kaiser Johnson.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you, Kaiser. And I do recommend everyone go check out your book, and you'll have to let us know when your Pulp Adventure series comes out. Absolutely. Will do. Thanks for having me on, Amy. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you for stopping by. All right. Bye, Kaiser. All right. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That helps other people know about Cath-Lit Live, and share this interview with anyone you think might be interested. If you've read Kaiser's book, either this one or his Grit and Glory one, tell us in the comments. Let us know if you've read Kaiser's books and you have liked it. So until next time, everybody, happy reading.